Welcome to Muskegon Rotary. My name is Jenny Sprague, and I have the privilege of serving as your president for this Rotary year. Today's program will be the City of Muskegon Housing Study presented by Jake Ekholm, and we'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance and Economic and Community Development moment for our new theme for October, and a reflection from Emily Morgenstern. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as I said, the theme for October is Economic and Community Development Month. Mike, if you could play the video, please.
A single act of good can go a long way. It can cross oceans and foster opportunity. As members of Rotary, we are people of action, and our actions have the power to speak loud and clear. We choose to see the world for what it could be. Through our commitment to advancing economic and community development around the world, we've seen its boundless potential firsthand. Thanks to Rotarians like you, we've seen the number of people living in poverty worldwide drop by more than 50% in the last 20 years. Our efforts are fostering entrepreneurship and economic self-sufficiency to create lasting change. We're altering outlooks and feeding communities in need and giving families a viable path out of poverty. With vocational training, mentorship, and access to well-paying jobs. We believe that effective humanitarian organizations operate at the intersection of commerce and cause, allowing us to channel community and worldwide resources that open new doors. Today, we invite you to see what's possible. Every gift is an action that speaks volumes. When we take action, we change the world. Learn how you can support the cause that means the most to you.
New quarter, remember to donate to the Rotary Foundation. Emily? Not you in particular, reflection. But if you want to.
Hello, everyone. So this past Tuesday, the Muskegon Grand Haven Chamber celebrated the annual Athena Awards Luncheon, celebrating women in our communities who are making an impactful difference. And Muskegon Rotary Club was well represented with our nominees, including Jill Bontice, Melissa Horton, Heidi Seitzema, Don Bunker, and this year's Athena recipient, Kathy Moore. And also knowing that quite a few of our Rotarians have also won the award in the past and also been nominated. It had me reflecting on how lucky we are, not only as a club, but as a community, to have so many powerful and extraordinary women who are truly making a difference in our community. So today I ask you to think about women in your life, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, sister, daughter, friend, coworker, and thank them, because I know that they've played a part in shaping who you are today. So with that, I'll leave you one of my favorite poets, Rupi Kaur, with a short little poem. We all move forward when we recognize how resilient and striking the women around us are.
Thank you, Emily. Sit down, enjoy your lunch. Look around for those red stars to welcome those members to our community. And Kathy Moore, I just wanted to tell you, like 4 people came up to tell me about the Athena Awards, so congratulations. Well, I'm sorry to break up the fellowship. It sounds like lots of good conversation going on, but we're ready to proceed with our meeting. At this point, we will do visiting Rotarians and guests, followed by our student guests. So if everybody could come up and see the lovely Miss Claire, she will help you with a microphone. And don't be shy. Come on, people. There's a lot of guests here. And hit your marks, and it'll all be good. Thank you. There we go.
Good afternoon, Pete DeBoer, here with Brad Hastings as my guest today, Disability Network. He is the Outreach and ADA Coordinator.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Contessa Alexander, and I have a very, very special guest with us today, Ms. Jocelyn Hines, who wears so many hats, but my favorite hat of all is the City of Muskegon's newest development analyst. So please welcome Jocelyn.
Congrats, I hadn't heard that yet. Oh, good. Thanks.
See, we're there. I want you guys to join me in welcoming Caitlin Hermanson. She is a Community Health Improvement Coordinator with Trinity Health Muskegon at the Health Project and is in charge of a lot of our coalitions and helps them stand up and do the work that they're called to do. And if Bob Skolnick is in the room, I want him to take note that I didn't hand the microphone to her.
Good afternoon. I'm Annette Jack, and my guest today is Sheila Morris. Sheila is the Director of Affordable Living Operations for Samaritas.
Hey friends, today I have Dialinda Sali. She is our Housing Management Information System Coordinator and works in partnership with the Muskegon County Homeless Continuum of Care. Yeah.
And I am not Marty Seitzma, and I'm not going to pretend to do and know how to do what he does every week. But I would love for you guys to give a huge welcome to Holton Public Schools. Here with us today is Michelle McCormick, the school counselor.
Yes, hello Rotarians. Thank you for inviting us to be your guest today. I am Michelle McCormick, the school counselor at Holton Public Schools. I am joined today by June Newell, our 2024 salutatorian, and Zoe Carty, our 2024 valedictorian. Before I have these exceptional students introduce themselves, I would like to share a few of Holton's latest highlights. As you remember, last year we were excited to add a school resource officer to our team. This year, Deputy Anthony Lindahl is implementing an anti-bullying curriculum to support a positive and safe school environment. Deputy Lindahl is building meaningful relationships with our community, and our students love having their very own police officer. In addition, we have created new student mental health teams called the Hope Squad. These students are trained in suicide prevention and help connect peers and to needed supports. The district, thank you. The district has also adopted the Blue Envelope program through Spectrum Health to ensure all staff is educated and empowered when handling suicidal situations. Finally, we received a state grant through Hackley Community Care for a school wellness program nurse to provide on-site medical support to all of our district students. Yep, I know. In addition to providing immediate medical attention, Nurse Amanda will be able to do a point of care testing for COVID, the flu, and strep. With a provider, she will provide telehealth services by using a digital stethoscope and, I hope I say this right, otoscope. These state-of-the-art devices will remotely allow a doctor or physician assistant to clearly see or hear what our nurse is seeing or hearing in real time. The nurse Amanda operates through parent consent and physician orders and may also see someone with a rash or an injured joint or help manage chronic conditions. We are proud to say that Holton is the first district within Hackley Community Care to provide these point-of-care testing and telehealth visits. While it is true that Holton is a small rural district, yes, we are. We are a very supportive and tight-knit community. We pride ourselves on our fine facilities, small class sizes, and outstanding staff. Together, we are growing students who will learn, lead, serve, and launch successfully into post-secondary positions. Rotarians, I would like to thank you again for asking us to join you today. It is an honor to be your guest. It is now my privilege to introduce you to June Newell, Holton High School's 2024 salutatorian.
Thank you, Ms. McCormick. Hello, I am June Newell, Holton High School's 2024 salutatorian. I spent a majority of my educational years here at Holton. Although, as I was growing up, we did move from time to time, therefore I've experienced bigger and more non-traditional ways of schooling. From the time I was in 4th grade to the end of 5th grade, my mother decided to homeschool us. It showed me a new perspective of education, but as I headed into my middle school years, I realized that the structure and involvement of a public school best fit my personality. The rest is history, and I will be a Holton graduate in the upcoming spring. Holton has a great sense of community and support. I'm constantly thankful for the relationships and connections I have made over the years. It's an indescribable feeling having such phenomenal individuals by your side at all times. It really allows you to bring forth your true authentic self and understand that the people around you truly help shape you into the person you are today. Overall, the community and support of Holton allows you to feel safe and loved. It's like having a bonus family that's only a call away. Throughout high school, I've always kept myself fairly busy, whether it was by participating in a sport, taking early college classes, or being a part of a beneficial club or organization. I love involving myself in making new connections. Therefore, that is one reason why I feel these activities matter so much. Being on a team showcases an ability of teamwork and trust, while important clubs showcase professionalism and personal growth. As of right now, I'm the president of National Honor Society, secretary of Student Council, and a member of the Diverse Equity Inclusion Group that was recently added to our school. I also am a part of our College Ambassador Group. With Holton being such a small community, community involvement is essential. Every year, our town puts on an event called Holton Days, and it's a day full of laughter, memories, and teamwork. Myself and numerous other individuals have dedicated our time volunteering to make this event as smooth as possible. Seeing community members enjoy such an event brings forth so much happiness. Not only that, but I've planted flowers, cleaned up our school's courtyard, and helped maintain our town's local recreational park. Overall, community involvement is a huge part of our community, and I look forward to helping whenever and wherever I can. As of now, I plan on attending a 4-year university to study early childhood education to someday hopefully become a teacher. I would love to go into this career as I love making children and other individuals happy. I want to make a difference in the way children see school and show them the importance of education. Not only do I want to show them a new perspective, but I want them to feel safe and cared for. The children of each generation are the building blocks of our society, and I feel as though they should be given all the resources they may need for once they reach adulthood. Everyone deserves an equal chance, and I would love to influence children in a positive way one day. If it wasn't for what Holton has taught me, I wouldn't be the person or student that I've become today. Every year, I gain more knowledge and resources to thrive for life after high school. It's been a complete honor to receive the title of salutatorian, and I wouldn't have gotten here without the unconditional support or determination from the community members and myself. All in all, thank you, Muskegon Rotary, for having us here today as your welcome guests. It has been a complete joy and absolute pleasure to stand in front of you all today. Next, I would like to introduce Zoe Carty, Holton High School's 2024 valedictorian.
Good afternoon. I am Zoe Carty, Holton High School's 2024 valedictorian. I first moved to Holton Public Schools in 2016, transferring from a class of 300 to 80. The first trait I noticed about the community was how involved everyone was. Previously, I was just another student. However, I quickly realized that the close-knit community was far more active with its students. Over the years, I became part of something that has set me up for success. I have been a member of our school's Diverse Equity Inclusion team. I am the vice president of National Honor Society. I am a new member as a college ambassador. I hold a position on the Sex Education Advisory Board, and I served as our student council secretary for 3 years, where I am now the co-president. With the help of my extracurriculars, as well as sports participation, I have had the opportunity to educate and promote our school's accomplishments. Communitively, everybody is involved. The faculty and our students at Holton have held many service activities, such as cleaning of our recreational park as well as our cemetery. We also hold a summer event called Holton Community Days, where the citizens of our town join together in unison to celebrate our spectacular community. Many students and families have volunteered their time to give back to the citizens of our town. This school and town have allowed me to come to the realization that I, too, want to give back to the world. My future plans include attending a 4-year university to study allied health in hopes of becoming a labor and delivery nurse. Thanks. I lost my father at a young age due to a tragic work accident, and a heartbreaking occurrence such as this has allowed me to form a deep connection with those around me. As a labor and delivery nurse, I will welcome new life into the world daily and provide substantial wisdom and comfort to new coming parents. With the knowledge and education I have gained from Holton Public Schools, I would not hold the title of valedictorian or have the the acuity that I possess today. It is an honor to represent my school and community in such a remarkable way. On behalf of Holton Public Schools, thank you again, Muskegon Rotary, for having us as your guest today. It is truly a privilege.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I heard you're having trouble hearing me in the back of the room. Can you hear me now? I feel like a Verizon commercial. We are now ready for our program, and I invite Dave Alexander to the front to introduce our speaker and share a little notice.
Thank you, Jenny. Is that loud enough, folks? I think I can scream across the room. Dave Alexander from the Rotary Program Committee, and our committee is disappointed to announce that U.S. Representative Hillary Scholten is unable to address us next week, Thursday, due to scheduled votes in Washington that day. Yep, they do have some business to do, don't they? Program committee, though, will conduct a program with the help of our Rotarian members. We have a business soapbox program set up, allowing 6 members of our club to provide us a brief update of something we do not know, but really should know, within Muskegon's business world. This update will be brief for the 6, up to 3 minutes. And we would like those presentations to engage us and challenge us and inform us. The speaking slots are on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you are interested, please reach out to me here after the meeting or during the week. By Thursday, we hope to have them all filled. If not, I will reach out to institutions, education, and local governments to make this a successful program, and I thank you for helping out. Now on to today's topic. We have followed the progress here in our programs of the City of Muskegon's economic development projects, from Harbor 31 to Muskegon Museum of Art expansion, Adelaide Point, Shaw Walker, and the docks, and now the latest, what has been provided by John Rooks in Parkland for Windward Point. But the City of Muskegon, for the past decade, also has worked on infill housing in our core urban neighborhoods. You might ask why. Well, Muskegon Development Services Director Jake Ekholm is with us today to provide a housing study initiative that he has led, and informs us all of the aforementioned initiatives as to why they're so important. He has the reasons why housing is such a critical issue for the city and our community. Jake is a graduate of Orchard View Schools, Muskegon Community College, and Grand Valley State University, where he has undergraduate degree in political science and international relations, and a graduate degree in public administration. Jake began his public administration career at the age of 24 as city manager jointly for Lakeview and Stanton. He returned to the community as the Muskegon Heights city manager in 2016. Jake came to the city of Muskegon to head its economic development initiatives and efforts in 2019. Give a warm Rotary welcome to Jake Ekholm.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me in the back? No? That may be the first time I've ever heard that in my life. There we go. Is that better? Good. I've never been told people can't hear me. That was a first. So I'm going to set a timer because I was told by Dave that I have 20 minutes to discuss our 409-page housing needs assessment with you. So I see there's one right here as well. So if we can go right into it, we'll get to the first slide. So the City of Muskegon, as was mentioned, for years, we've been seeing upward pressure primarily in rents, but also, as those of us know, in sale prices. And historically, we had been a less expensive housing market than our neighbors. certainly less expensive than the region, but we wanted to understand what were the social and economic implications of this upward pressure in the rental and for sale product market, and how were they impacting our community. We were getting a lot of feedback, and we wanted a data-driven opportunity to understand that. So I'm going to try to run through some of these very quickly. I'm going to be coming at you pretty hot, but hopefully that'll leave some time for questions. So it was summer of 22 that we released a request for proposals for qualified research firms to conduct this housing needs assessment. We ended up going with Bowen National Research. They've done Ottawa County, City of Grand Rapids, Kent County. They already had a lot of institutional knowledge about the West Michigan region. So on the screen here, you can see some of the key points that we wanted to understand, and I'll get into those a little bit as we get going. The biggest ones were breakdown by housing needs, housing gap over the next several years, and to use this as a development tool for both affordable and market rate housing infill. There's also a countywide study that's also being done by Bowen that has been completed, and there should be very wide publication of that in the near future. So again, understanding our rapidly changing housing ecosystem, we wanted to critique, analyze, and perhaps and likely change our infill housing efforts to date. I believe I was here in February of 2023 presenting on our brownfield infill housing program. Some of you may have been here for that program. We've infilled, now we're up over 165 units since 2019 of affordable, attainable rental and owner-occupied housing, so that's positive. We wanted to gather data that would allow for more equity-based housing policies by neighborhood. Those of you that know the city know that, out west by the lake in, Beechwood Bluffton may not look exactly like the east side of the city in Angel or McLaughlin or Jackson Hill. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't trying to do a one-size-fits-all approach to infill housing to make sure that we could benefit the most citizens that we could. And then again, compile a document that would encourage further private sector housing investment. We've been a leader in Michigan in infill housing on the public side, but quite frankly, the problem or the need exceeds our resources. So trying to get more and more private sector partners to buy in. At the end, I'll touch anecdotally on how successful we've been there. So again, this is just the study, but we're going to skip that slide because I see this clock ticking. It illustrated really that we've been building in the right price points and areas. It showed a lot of things that we were doing right. Despite our aggressive infill pace related to other cities in Michigan, our housing gap was growing. And then we have gaps. One of the biggest things that was eye-opening for us is we have gaps that will only be served by public center intervention that we've not addressed. So namely, extremely low rent points and then buyer housing for sale product under $120,000, which for those of you that know anything about the construction market for residential, that really can't be built in the traditional sense. So problems we're still trying to figure out. Data kind of really reflected challenges in our specific community related to successful housing outcomes, and I think we dive into that some. And it certainly has helped the staff already in the past year since we've had this information, or slightly less than a year, steering us to make some policy recommendations. And I'm pleased to announce that we should be ready to make some policy recommendations to the City Commission for adoption before the end of the calendar year. So you should see some things forthcoming. Hi, Commissioner Gorman. Waved at me. I'm trying to do something up here. It's nice to see you. So again, encouraging further private sector housing investment. We really need to have housing at all price points. Dave mentioned some fantastic developments that are really going to take care of the top of market, close to the top of market for us. The economy is taking care of that, the private market, but we have a large cohort of people that are not going to be able to access those facilities. And so our job over the next several years is to make sure that they are not priced out of their area that they want to live in the city, and that they're included in housing policy decisions as we move forward. So key findings, this is a long slide, we're going to skip that. Study submarket areas. So what we did here, our city is made up of 15 neighborhoods, which is bananas really. And so that you can't really get good granular data when we get that close to the ground. But we understood, as I mentioned, that we had pretty substantial differences culturally, socioeconomically, demographically, from one side of the city to the other. And so we broke it into submarkets that mostly include more than one neighborhood. The only exceptions were Beechwood Bluffton. And I'll tell you, as I told them when I presented the study to them, it's because they're older, whiter, and richer than the rest of the city. And so we wanted to make sure that we understood that, and we understood what that data looked like and the disparities that Beechwood Bluffton specifically had against even its closest neighbor. neighbors. The other individual neighborhood was Nelson, and the reason that we did that is because Nelson is the location of the bulk of our downtown development over the last decade, and we wanted to understand how, if at all, it was impacting the demographic and economic trends of Nelson. So that's how we split it up. So that's a heavy slide, but we're going to get into it because it's important. So overall projected population and household changes. Our population is projected to stabilize over the next 5 years. This is the first 5-year period since the 1950 census where we're projected not to lose population. We actually think that we're well within the margin of error here through American Community data that we think will likely grow, and that's a positive trend. Household growth is projected to be at 109 new households. So that's people aging out of their parents' households, that's people buying homes for the first time or moving into the community. So basically what that means is the number of people leaving or sadly passing away is going to be met or exceeded by new household growth or new people moving in. City household growth from 2023 to 2027 of 0.7%. That's more than triple the balance of the rest of the county and double the state of Michigan. So what we did in this study is we used our secondary study area as the balance of Muskegon County minus the city limits. So we wanted to understand how our housing needs related to the rest of the county. So we have a lot of data that shows where we stack up next to the remainder of the community and then to Michigan as a whole. The city had far fewer married individuals than the balance of the county, so only 29.2% of the city population is married. And as you can see, the county is just over 50%, and the state of Michigan is just about exactly 50%. The reason we studied that is it obviously has big implications for housing affordability. If it's a single income household, then it's even more difficult to enter this housing market. So the city has a large and growing base of senior households. Significant growth in older millennials and middle-aged folks as well. So that was actually something we were grateful to understand because we had done an internal multifamily study in 2019, which had actually steered us to veer away from affordable senior multifamily because we knew something like 89% of our multifamily apartment units were reserved or preferred for seniors. So we were heavily focused on workforce housing, which we were correct to do, but we found that we really kind of need both due to the changing demographic trends in the city. And then again, nearly all household growth trends are predicted for the Nelson submarket and the submarket comprising Steele, Sheldon Park, Oakview, and East Muskegon. So our growth is very siloed in particular areas of the city. Maybe. My slide's not changing. There we go. So this is, again, community demographic information. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but this graph, which I would encourage you to find this study on our website at shorelinecity.com. So we broke down in one table sort of our like highlights and lowlights for each submarket. Found out a lot about the community that way. 53% of the citizens identify as Caucasian alone, compared with 82.5% of the rest of Muskegon County, and then just over 3/4 of the state of Michigan. So just really putting in good data-driven terms what we already knew in a lot of cases. And then again, we're younger and more diverse than the rest of the community that we're in. So there's a lot of excellent data that we found that all had impacts on housing need. Next slide, please. So this is interesting. So transients and income data. So again, a lot of the demographic data and socioeconomic data we were looking for speaks to housing issues. And so 76.2% of residents stayed in their housing unit year over year from 2016 to 2020. That means 1 in 4 people in the city limits moved. And that's a very high number. You typically see that number under 10%, which is very unusual. And that we found that actually Muskegon County and the state of Michigan in general exceed the national average for transients. So generally people move more in Michigan, but we were even far and above that trend. The city's median income has increased 30%. From 2010 to 2022 to $35,671. This is far less than the median income growth of the balance of the county. So the balance of the county exceeded $60,000 for the first time, sometime around 2020. That's still trailing the state of Michigan, but it's catching up to the state of Michigan. And what we found is we actually fell further behind. And so while we saw growth, it was disparate to the balance of the county and certainly disparate to the growth in the state. Median incomes varied widely by submarket, with the highest being Beechwood Bluffton at $73,917, which is one of the highest area median incomes in West Michigan. It's higher than almost the average for almost every community in West Michigan, and lowest being the Angel, McLaughlin, and Marshfield area at $30,308. So this is maybe the first and only time I've ever put bold red print on a PowerPoint slide. So, and you can read it. It's because I really want you to pay attention to this slide. So this is one of the key reasons we want to do this study, and it was to really understand some of the fears and anxieties in our community about gentrification, like social gentrification, not feeling comfortable in the community you've traditionally been in or feeling welcome, and then also economic gentrification, just the nuts and bolts of, can I afford to stay where I have always been? So this is a crucial slide because it shows what we already knew, but it really put it to numbers, and it also projects it to get worse. That gentrification is certainly taking place in the wider Muskegon area and certainly in the city of Muskegon. 57% of renters in the city earn less than $30,000, and over half of them are income cost burden in their home. The share of the renter households in the city has increased from 43% in 2000 to 51.3% in 2022. Sometime during COVID, the city limits became a majority renter community for the first time. All rental growth is projected to occur in households earning more than $30,000. Specifically, about 50% is going to be over $60,000 households. So what that tells us is we have more and more people for a variety of reasons, whether that's upward mobility or that's new folks coming into the community, taking up the rental stock and becoming a bigger cohort of the rental market that make a lot more money than we traditionally have seen in our renters. And so that's disconcerting because obviously they're entering a competitive rental market with limited units, which we'll get into in a little bit. Over 60% of all homeowner households in the city earn less than $60,000 annually. This is actually fairly unique and a positive on its face. And so we have a larger than average cohort of low to mod income homeowners in the city limits, and we have a larger than average cohort of homeowners of color than the state of Michigan on average, and certainly West Michigan as a whole. So those are all good things in this conversation, in the sense that those people have built a lot of equity during this upward market. Again, they're victim to all sorts of other disparate policies and structurally racist, like finance and real estate policies over years that have artificially held down the equity in that home. But with this unit shortage, a lot of them have realized a lot of equity, and a lot of them have taken advantage of that equity by selling. But again, that contributes to this conversation of gentrification, where people are choosing to utilize that equity and leave that community, and the people who are coming in often, A, don't look like them, and B, are often landlords and investors. And so that's changing and exacerbating that gentrification. All projected growth, as you may have noticed, is to occur in income brackets over 60K in the owner-occupied space, and that's projected to be over 600 households by 2027. So this is probably the most important slide, I would say. It's our unit gap analysis. So we knew that we were short units and that we needed to do everything we could to infill units. This really kind of lays it out on paper. So to put this in perspective, we have a total of about 14,700 housing units in the city limits of Muskegon, and this projected gap is 2,924 units in the next 5 years alone, closer to 4 years now. So that's a 20%, greater than 20% housing gap. If that doesn't scare you, it should, as somebody who works in this stuff every day. That's as stark by percentage of housing gap as the city of Grand Rapids, is as bad as a unit gap as you see in Ottawa County as a whole. It's as bad as anywhere. The researchers told me that it's one of the most severe rental gaps they've ever done. And so that's problematic and requires creative solutions. So you can see by breakdown, the rentals are on the top, and that's just over 1,600 units, and it breaks it down what the gap is projected to be by price point. Again, you'll see the largest one is low-income rental housing, which they call low income, but quite frankly is sort of in our market rate range, and it's about $900 to $1,400 a month. We're pretty well in hand to make a big dent in that. We're very well in hand to make a big dent in the moderate and high-income rental spaces. The two that we're going to struggle with are the 700 units that we need at very low income and extremely low income, and that's due to a variety of factors. And during the question and answer period, somebody should ask me a question about how we plan to deal with that, because I don't have enough minutes to talk about it. And then on the for sale side, you'll note, again, hundreds of units that need to be built under $120,000. The city has been extremely successful building and marketing low-income for sale homes that are priced in the 160 to 200 range. And those are, we're selling them as quick as we can build them. And we'll continue to do that. And we've gotten more creative to bring those prices down into the 150 range as well. The challenge is there are folks that from a credit standpoint could buy and they just are too low income. And then there are folks that have the income to buy something in that 150 range and they don't have the credit. So again, we need some creative solutions. We feel pretty comfortable that the moderate income for sale homes and high income upscale will be taken care of by some of the multifamily condo stuff. There's limited opportunity for us in the single family detached rate, though we have had some success in selling our lots to private builders that are selling more in the 275 to 300 rate. And again, those are selling as quick as they can be built. So some positives there. Substandard housing stock. So this is fascinating. So again, 14,700 total housing units, and there were 424 total substandard units in the city, included 224 overcrowded units. So that means more than 1.01 people per room in a home. Doesn't mean bedroom, it means every room, kitchen, living room. We have a lot of those in traditionally workforce built housing areas like Camp Belfield, NIMS, neighborhoods where the foundries built a lot of the houses. We have large families living in small units. So, and then 200 units that without complete up to code plumbing and or kitchen. And we assume the majority of those are substandard owner occupied homes because our rental inspections process fines and enforces on those. So we think those are very low income people that have had their units fall into disrepair and they don't have the means to fix them. 83.4% of all of our housing stock is pre-1970 product. I was just at a city managers conference in Austin, Texas, and the city of Austin was trying to have this shocking statistic where they said 60% of all of our housing units are pre-1970, and the whole crowd was like, "Oh my goodness!" And I immediately remembered this statistic, and I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to show you up." But so again, that's very, very ahead of everyone else when it comes to old housing stock. That makes sense, being one of the older communities in West Michigan. Camp Belfield and NIMS submarket, they account for over 1/3 of all the substandard units in the city limits. Again, those are because of overcrowding issues in those areas. Again, we touched on cost burden, but I'll briefly touch on this again. So 4,600 of the 14,700 housing units in the city are cost burden. We define that as over 30% of your income coming to housing costs, including utilities and rent or mortgage payment. That's half of all renters, 3,200 units, and about 1/5 of all owner occupied. Nelson submarket has the greatest share of both renter and owner cost burden units, and that's why we separated them out to see what sort of impact all that desirability and amenities and development that we're putting in is having. And what we found when we dug into that a little deeper is a lot of the new housing stock, a lot of the rental units that have been built that are renting at high rental points, some of you actually live in those, are contributing to that. And those people tend to actually be higher income people, but because they're choosing to live close to those amenities and pay more for rent than they would in other areas, they're making a conscious choice. And then in other situations, they're folks that have very little and their rents have just gone up because of the perception of the increased value of the neighborhood. So it's a little bit of everything that's causing that problem. This is apartment data overview. I'm not going to go into that. We can talk about it in the questions. Long story short, we're at 99% occupancy rate, and in some areas 100% occupancy rate. All of our subsidized units are full. Strong majority of our market rate units are full. A healthy occupancy rate is 93 to 95%. We are way beyond a healthy rate. During the survey time, the survey period, there was several had 100+ unit wait lists, so they had 100 numbers to call as soon as apartment came available. Very problematic. We did study short-term rentals. I'm not going to spend any time on it on this presentation. We studied it because we're getting increasing concern from folks that that it was a real problem citywide, and we want to understand that. What we really found is that over half of the units are found in one neighborhood, and then another 1/5 of them are found in another submarket. So it is a real problem in portions of our community. That was the biggest finding. For sale housing overview. Again, a lot of units sold. We still had the largest cohort of units sold under $150,000. The problem again was a lot of those, almost all of them were pre-1970 construction and probably had something that was going to be a major repair that folks that can get mortgage for $150 or less or can only get mortgage for 150 or less may not be able to handle. So we're putting them in a cost burden situation from the jump. Again, we'll skip that. We can get into that in Q&A. This is one I want to touch on quickly. So this was something that I knew kind of, but this data really helped me understand it. So we have a workforce of roughly 24,000 in the city limits. Of those, 20,000 drive into the city limits every day but do not live in the city limits. That's pretty crazy. That's way above the average for any kind of small urban. So effectively 4/5 of our folks just don't live here, they just work here. And then we export about just over half of that number for people that live here but don't work here. And so we did a survey to kind of understand, like, of those people, how much or how many of them would consider living in the city. About 9 to 10% say they would if there was suitable available housing. So about 1 in 10 of those people, which is thousands of people. But by and large, they said, we want new construction, move-in ready housing. We want traditional ranch style development. We want 2-stall attached garages. So the type of people that live in the suburbs because they like the amenity that suburbs have. We'll skip this because everybody knows we're pretty built out. We did do a community survey. It by and large found that the consistent needs were rents under $1,000, units with 2 or more bedrooms in single family settings, and then housing for working age people, and then more housing that had vouchers. So quickly to touch on our, oh, yeah, there you go. Thanks. Oh, that's fine too. So just to touch on where we're at in the process, we have completed engagement events in all 7 submarkets. We actually opened up the Jackson Hill Marquette submarket and toured through Frebel School, which is a vacant elementary school that we own and are hoping to redevelop into affordable housing. And so we have gone through that. We've consolidated and analyzed all the comments and feedback we got on the study and what people wanted to see in their neighborhood. We are about to do a staff overview of a draft of what we're calling our Strategic Housing Implementation Plan, or SHIP. And so after we receive, staff buy-in and management approval, we'll bring that to the commission. That will include overarching kind of macro policy directions we should move the city to be more housing favorable, as well as specific action items on things the staff thinks should happen in the short term to make it more viable to infill more units of housing. So that's where we're at. This is kind of our timeline. We can skip that because I'm over time as it is. Thank you. Do you want to, we have Q&A time? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sure there are a few. Yeah, that was the fastest I've ever gotten through this, so.
Wow. Yes, indeed. Maybe I missed this and all this wonderful data. Thank you so much. One thing that came to my mind in all of our wonderful development that's going on here, there, and everywhere, what percentage of those people that are buying into these housing units, apartments, condos, are people that stay here year-round?
Oh, that's a good question. So I can speak most specifically and accurately to our infill housing. So we've had several for rent and for sale programs, and we've infilled, as I mentioned, over 150 units ourselves. Of the ones that we've tracked for sale product, they are all year-round owner occupiers. And then to go a step further, 40% of them have been new to the city limits so far, and 60% of them have been existing residents that are either buying a different house or going from renting to owning a house. So I anticipate that a lot of our waterfront development, multifamily condo, owner-occupied product will be seasonal homes, which I think has both upsides and downsides because obviously those are non-homesteaded units, and then they provide 18 additional mills in taxable value for us to provide public services. So in some ways, I hate to put it this way, those that live here year-round will be subsidized from a public service standpoint by those folks who don't. Yeah.
Jake, I'm going to ask the question you wanted people to ask.
Oh, good. I forgot what it was.
It was about the housing unit gap and what the city is doing to reduce that gap.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad that you thought to ask it. Yeah, so a lot, and I'm going to keep beating the drum that we have infilled more units in our neighborhoods than any community short of Detroit in Michigan, and we've been asked to speak to and assist other communities, including the city of Pontiac, on how we've done that. And this scattered site brownfield model that I've presented on previously allows us to do that and recoup our costs. So that's the kind of the secret ingredient is I can build a house for 200 and sell it to you for 170, which find a new construction 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for $170,000 anywhere else. Like if you find it, send it to me because I've been looking, and I think we're the only ones doing it. But point being, I will eventually recoup my costs because of that brownfield. And then every taxing jurisdiction, the county, the college, the library, I saw some of you folks here today, they will all receive full freight after we're caught up. And so it's actually providing a net benefit to everyone. The other things we've been doing, are continuing to assist with remediation efforts around Muskegon Lake, continuing to advocate for public access and accessibility as those developments come forward, because, we have one chance to kind of redevelop the frontage on Muskegon Lake. It was legacy industrial. Before that, it was legacy lumber. Our goal is to make sure that while it will provide more tax base for public services for people and more units of housing, that it will be publicly available for everybody to enjoy. And so our planning team is working on a lot of major projects right now. And we've actually had direct intervention with people when they bring us a site plan and we're like, okay, this is good. What if you did this? It could be great. And that's both on the access side and it's also on the unit composition side. So, Shaw Walker is in the process of actually putting together some model units right now. And some of those units are going to be under $1,000. And if you would have told me that anybody who redeveloped Shaw Walker was going to have rental units under $1,000, I would have been hard pressed to believe you. So just making sure that we're very direct and transparent. And now we're armed with this study and its data to really kind of show people like, you can do this. This can be done. We just need to have these creative solutions. Mm-hmm.
Jake, this is pretty alarming stuff and I guess would say negative, but how about the positives? Paul Isley in his economic forecast talked about the migration of people from Northwest Ottawa and Grand Rapids to Muskegon. Here on Clay Street, I've got people across the street, my neighbors that moved from Grand Haven, Grand Rapids, Spring Lake, people that wouldn't give Muskegon a second look. Any observations on that?
Yeah, for sure. And so I think when it comes to housing, right, housing is an ecosystem. And so ecosystems are reliant on every factor. And so nothing can be a pure positive and nothing can be a pure negative. So we've met a ton of people just anecdotally, my family and I, walking around downtown and meeting people that have moved here, considering moving here. And that's a great thing because over the course of decades, we've lost 10,000 people. And so stands to reason that in order to be built out the way we're designed to be, we could put some of those people back. We just have to make sure that as we get new neighbors that are more affluent and more resource-based and are coming from another area where maybe the norms and standards were different, that we're remembering the people that were also already here. So it's not a negative. It's a positive that we're growing and attracting people. We need to make sure that it doesn't happen at the expense of anybody.
I don't see anyone else, but I'm going to ask the other one that I think. Oh, we got one more. Okay, I was just going to ask the other one. You said to ask at the end about what you're doing about the extremely low rental units and the very low.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and I wish I had awesome answers for it. So far, I only have okay answers for it. So we are fortunate that myself and another member of the senior leadership team at the city sit on the Public Housing Commission board here. And so we've engaged with our executive director to understand, okay, what is the process for achieving more vouchers for the city of Muskegon? So more project-based vouchers, which I believe Sheila from Samaritas is here today, right? I saw, yep, hi. So that goes part and parcel with our main strategy, which is leaning heavily into LIHTC. And so low-income housing tax credits, we could do a whole nother presentation on that. It's a very complicated system, but it's the main federal avenue for affordable housing units in this day and age. So HUD has decided they don't like to build housing, they don't want to own housing. So what they do is they issue these very lucrative tax credits to developers that are willing to build it and keep their rents lower in exchange for the sale of these lucrative tax credits. And so we are leaning heavily into those because every unit in one of those buildings is required for 40 years to keep their rents at what MSHDA says they have to based on the median income of the people in them. And so right now in the pipeline, or we're asking for MSHDA's approval, we're working with 4 different LIHTC developers, including Samaritas, who we're grateful for, for 6 total developments, which include over 340 units of affordable apartments. And that's crucial. The other thing that we're working towards is more project-based vouchers, or excuse me, housing choice vouchers, which would allow more people at 30% AMI or below to leverage those to landlords in the single-family market, because right now, every single voucher is spoken for. VASH vouchers have a waiting list, so veterans vouchers have a waiting list. We just don't have enough resources to meet the need. So advocacy is one side, and then also getting creative in our designs and building product that we can market at a lower rate as well.
Just one more.
Okay, I'll be quick. I think you were already touching on it a little bit, but what I was thinking is, let's say we have some folks in Muskegon, they bought a house for $20,000 20 years ago, and as you have all these $250,000 developments going in, they don't have the income to access the equity of their home to make repairs, but now their property taxes are starting to skyrocket. You mentioned low-income tax credits for new developments. Is there anything for already existing residents that are worried about property taxes pricing them out of their homes?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. So in Michigan, we have this double-edged sword called the Headley Amendment. And so the Headley Amendment is an actual amendment to the state's constitution that was also supported by statutes in the 90s that basically said your increase in taxable value can only be inflation per the CPI or 5%, whichever is lower. And so you hear like really horrific stories about like extreme and rapid economic gentrification in places like the south side of Chicago and other places where people's property taxes would jump 20+% in a year in some cases and it literally price people out. I've owned this home for decades and I can't pay my property taxes, so I'm going to leave, or I have to sell. That can't really happen here the way it happens to other people in other communities because of the Headley Amendment, which is a good thing. But again, ecosystem. The problem with that is there's nothing precluding tax base from falling. And so during the Great Recession, tax base all across Michigan, including Muskegon and Muskegon Heights, fell off a cliff. And now, because of Headley, we're throttled into how quickly it can come back. And so when I was the manager of Muskegon Heights, I did the math one time on the taxable value of 2007 versus 2017. And based on my average increase in projection of taxable value increases, it was going to take until 2068 to get back to 2007 taxable values with nothing changing, with no new stuff. And so that is the protections that people have in place. Those are statutory protections. So we're far more concerned about the economic gentrification on the renter side, which is over half the community, and then also on the social gentrification side, which quite frankly, we need community partners to help us have those conversations. So good question.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate all the information, and we are going to make a contribution to Hand Wash as an expression of our gratitude for your time today. Thank you. Next, we have our birthday slides. Last week's was very full. This week, it's very short. We have Heidi, who isn't here. So happy birthday, Heidi. So next up, we are doing our member spotlight. Today's profile is Erin Kuhn.
My name is Erin Kuhn. I am Executive Director of the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission, and I have been a member of Rotary since, I believe, 2016. Well, service above self and that motto from Rotary really is ingrained in all of what I do, both personally and professionally. My job and especially the economic development field of what we do is looking to it's servant leadership. You know, we serve our communities and our communities serve our residents, and our goal is to really improve who we are as a community in West Michigan. And it's just a really natural fit for what we do. And I love being involved in Rotary and having that reinforce what I do in my professional life and my personal life as well. There's been so much growth that has happened in my tenure, not only at the regional commission, but also within Rotary. The communities have changed so much. The cooperation that we have and working together I see that it's such a huge benefit. I think it's made such a difference in advancing who we are as a county and the residents that we do. There's so much passion And I've seen that passion change our community and change who we are and change the perception of what outsiders have of Muskegon.
We have an induction today. Jill and Phil, if you could come forward, please, we will get this going. And Meredith, if you could be ready to go with your announcement for the Brave Rotarians, we'll try to make up some time here. So. Claire, do you have the mic for?
All right. Hello. I have the honor today of introducing Phil McPherson. He is a director of business for Pioneer Resources. Phil arrived in Muskegon in 1996 and has been involved in many community initiatives since then. He was instrumental in creating the low-income pharmacy program in partnership with other colleagues. Phil and his husband Richard are both very philanthropic, serve on many boards, and believe in creating, should have actually put on these glasses, creating systematic positive change to marginalized populations in our community. Most of all, he strives to make Muskegon a better place to live, work, and play. And we are grateful to have him at Pioneer.
Nice, thank you. Claire, can you take the mic back there? Fellow Rotarians and honored guests, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, it is my privilege to induct a new member today. Phil McPherson, you have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Muskegon because your fellow members believe you to be a worthy representative of your profession and that you possess the qualities that will help you exemplify the true spirit of Rotary in your public, business, social, and private life. By joining the Rotary Club of Muskegon, you become part of a worldwide organization of business and professional leaders united in fellowship and dedicated to encouraging and fostering the ideal of service and high ethical standards to help create goodwill and build a more peaceful world. Because you are a member of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, you will be welcome to join the fellowship of any Rotary Club worldwide. Membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege. With this privilege, there are obligations. The Muskegon Rotary Club asks that you attend the club's meetings regularly, perform your share of club service, and use your knowledge and talents to help Muskegon Rotary carry the principles of Rotary into the daily life of our community. Do you accept these obligations of membership?
I do.
Thank you. I'm going to give everything to Jill at once. She can hand it to you. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, I am pleased to ask your sponsor, Jill Bontice, to give you this Rotary pin so your fellow Rotarians in the community will recognize you as a Rotarian. Please wear your pin with pride. We also present you with a plaque displaying the ideals of Rotary, a copy of the four-way test, and a membership directory. Finally, I have a challenge for you. My challenge is for you to share the gift given to you by your sponsor, Jill. I ask that you invite another person of good character and commitment to Rotary's motto of service above self to join our club within the next 6 months. By sponsoring a new member, you will share the honor of becoming a Rotarian. Do you accept this challenge? I do. Thank you. He said yes. Muskegon Rotarians, please rise. Phil McPherson, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, I formally admit you to membership and welcome you as a member of the Rotary Club of Muskegon. Fellow Rotarians, please recognize the newest Rotarian in the world, Phil McPherson. Congratulations. Sorry, got all this stuff. Congratulations. And Meredith, bless you, you are here. Get out of your way.
Hello, Rotarians. Periodically, we hold a Brave Rotarian contest to encourage contributions to support the work of the Rotary Foundation. Each participant in the Brave Rotarian contest contributes $100 to the Rotary Foundation. Winners get to receive a Paul Harris Award for themselves or may gift it to another deserving individual. This coming October 24 is World Polio Day, and Muskegon Rotary will participate financially in the effort to eradicate polio. Last year, we were this close to eradicating polio, as only 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, had polio crises. We are making significant progress towards eradicating polio. However, recent news reminds us that polio remains a threat everywhere. Polio is even being detected in places where it hasn't been found in decades, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and Malawi. Mozambique announced its first polio outbreak of wild polio virus in 30 years. This contest, Rotary in Action, is designed to support President Ginny's focus on the work of Rotarians, as well as the Rotary Foundation in her presidential year, and will continue to support the vital work of our Rotary Foundation. We need 20 brave Rotarians to participate in the contest, and you should see a circulation sign-up sheet. The contest will begin on Thursday, October 26th, when we will have 2 contestants be eliminated from our competition, and then we'll continue until January 11th, when we will announce the remaining 2 contestants, and they will be declared the winners of the Rotary in Action contest. So if you weren't able to see the sign-up sheet, I believe it's all right, making its rounds, and I will stay a little bit afterwards to assist anybody in signing up.
Thank you, Meredith. We have several people that want to make an announcement, so if you could work your way forward now, I would appreciate it. I would like to let you know that we received a very gracious thank you letter from LaDon Thompson Gustafson on behalf of Mission for Area People to thank you for the opportunity to present to us and help spread their message. Next week, October 12th, we will be back at the Lake House. You have to pay attention this month because we're switching around a lot. So, Rewind will meet this evening at 5:15 p.m. at Walker's in the Delta. And just a note, the District 6290 Leadership and Learning Conference is at Cadillac this weekend. John Noling is going up on Saturday, and he is available for a ride share if somebody would like to have a ride up to Cadillac. And now we're ready for the announcements. Come on down.
Hello, nice to be here. I have 2 things to say. One is thank you. The Rotary Club has been a supporter of several of our Muskegon City Public Art initiatives, and you were directly supportive of Band Together, the sculpture that we're planning for Muskegon Heights. So my second thing is, you are all invited to the dedication of Band Together at Rowan Park on Broadway and Baker on October 20th. It's a Friday at 4 o'clock. I would love to see Rotary represented there. I think this is, I hope, a very important day in Muskegon Heights. We've done a tremendous amount of work at Rowan Park. It's, I've always felt that, you leave something better than you found it. And I think we will definitely be leaving that area of Muskegon Heights better than it was. So please join us, 4 o'clock, October 20th, Friday at Rowan Park. And we're going to dedicate our beautiful sculpture. So thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCarthy. I'm here to remind you about the big read that's going on in our community through Muskegon Area District Library. There's lots of fun events that they're planning, so you can get on their website. But as Rotarians, we're going to be delivering a program to you on November 2nd, so we're encouraging all of you to read the book. I have copies available for $7. It's a real bargain, and so I'll stay in the back a little later if anybody's interested in the book. I have them. But November 2nd should be a fun day. What's the book? The book is called Homegoing, and it's by Yaa Gassi. Once again, congratulations to Kathy Moore, our Athena recipient, and all of the finalists in the room.
Thank you. So do pay attention for the meeting on November 2nd. You do have some homework, so don't say the dog ate it. Lisa.
Hey, Lisa Krause here to talk about Harvest Fest. It's coming up in just a couple weeks on the October 26th.
just by show of hands, who has not gotten their ticket yet? You're in luck. We still have 200 tickets, and I am going to let you guys bring all the friends that we can sell out because Carla has demanded we sell this out, and I don't want to disappoint her. You can also, because we're really good at volunteering as Rotarians, we will have volunteer opportunities still available. You can go online and sign up or talk to Carla to sign up, and you get a very sweet t-shirt. We had a picture, but it didn't quite get here yet. But you get a really cool t-shirt. You can also, as part of your ticket, we will give you either a beer glass or a wine glass that has Harvest Fest on it. They're beautiful, and we will give you the first drink free. And sponsors, we need more sponsors. We're about a third of the way there, so let's open up those wallets and sponsor this event so that we can raise money for Read Muskegon. What have I not said yet? I'm part of Taste of Muskegon, so food is always top of mind for me, so I don't know how I forgot this one, but there's gonna be a lot of food there. Baker has created all sorts of delicious looking options, and we are going to eat as much of it as we can. I think I have everything on my list here. Yard signs. If you have been driving around, you may have seen a few of them around town, and they look beautiful. You've been jealous. Go pick up some in the back of the room because Carla will not take them home. She'll just drive to your house and stick them in your yard if you don't take it home. So, yes, Sue is our gorgeous, talented model here. So get your yard sign.
Yes. And I just wanted to point out, these are two of our newer members, and they jumped right in, so thank you so much. So we are ready for the raffle. I have down Ed Hedrickson, but I think it's Frank, isn't it? Oh, and Frank left. Okay, so is somebody doing the raffle? Oh, Ed, you are here. Okay, let her rip. $5. $259. Oh, we have a winner. I can't see who it is, but we've got one. $10. $290, is that what you said? $299. $10. Oh, do we have a winner or do we draw again? Not exactly a long count there. 0212. Hey, we got a winner. Yay. And now drawing for $20. $232. And congratulations. Dave covered next week's program thoroughly. Be sure to get in touch with him if you want to be part of that. And if everyone could rise, we'll say the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Go out, have a good week, and create hope in the world. We are adjourned.